My dear friend, today I want to sit down and share something that has troubled me deeply throughout my years in medicine. It's about blood pressure numbers. You see, sometimes a single number can change a person's whole life, how they're treated, how they live each day, and even how they grow old. Recently, the leading heart organizations in the U.S. released new guidelines. According to them, a blood pressure of 124 or 125 is now considered high. Does that sound reasonable to you? I've seen so many patients confused and frightened by that. A 68-year-old gentleman once came to my clinic, his eyes full of worry, holding a slip of paper that read 125/78. He asked, "Doctor, does this mean I'm really sick? Should I take more medication?" I looked at him, sighed, and thought, this is the price we pay when our medical guidelines become too strict. Because you know the biggest danger isn't always high blood pressure. For many older adults, especially those over 65, the real risk is pressure that's too low. I've seen grandmothers faint in their bathrooms, older men feeling dizzy just from standing up. They didn't fall because their pressure was 125. They fell because it was pushed down to 100, even 90 after taking 3 or 4 medications at once. When that happens, the brain doesn't get enough blood, the heart weakens, the muscles tremble, and one single fall can take away independence, confidence, sometimes even the rest of their life. I want you to imagine this. You're walking through the park on a sunny morning. Suddenly, your head spins and your legs give out. You fall. Not because you were too strong, but because your pressure was pushed too low. Have you ever felt something like that? Many people think high blood pressure only comes from eating too much salt or drinking alcohol. But after decades of experience, I've seen a different picture. The real culprit is insulin resistance, when your body no longer responds properly to insulin, the hormone that manages blood sugar. And it often starts with the modern diet. Too many refined carbs, too much sugar pastries, sodas, processed food, and not enough movement. One of my patients, a 72-year-old woman, once told me, "Doctor, I don't even eat salty foods, so why is my blood pressure still high?" When I looked at her diet, I found white bread every morning, a piece of cake in the afternoon, and almost no walking. After just a few months of cutting back on sugar, eating more greens, and walking each evening, her blood pressure dropped naturally. No increase in medication, no fear that 124 was somehow dangerous. What saddens me is that most official guidelines rarely mention insulin resistance at all. They keep repeating, eat less salt, more vegetables, drink less alcohol. That's fine, but it's like fixing a small crack in the wall while ignoring the collapsing foundation underneath. If insulin resistance is the root cause and we don't address it, how can blood pressure control ever be sustainable? I'm not against medication. Drugs have their place, especially when blood pressure is truly high and dangerous. But I worry when a 70-year-old has to take 3 or 4 pills a day and slowly loses their vitality. I've seen the tired eyes, the forced smiles, the words, "Doctor, I don't even feel like going for walks anymore because I get dizzy every time I stand up." So let me tell you this. A reading of 124 or 125 doesn't mean you're on the edge of danger. The more important questions are, am I eating too much sugar? Am I letting my body fall into insulin resistance? Am I moving enough every day? Those questions matter far more, you might ask, than what's the blood pressure for me? Truth is, there isn't a single perfect number for everyone. A healthy 40-year-old and a frail 75-year-old can't share the same target. Blood pressure, like life itself, must be understood in context. We need to listen to our bodies, not just the machine. Let me share a story. An 80-year-old man I know lives alone and visits me regularly. His readings are usually around 130 to 135. He worries because the new charts call that hypertension. But I look at him, bright eyes, steady steps, sharp memory, and I ask, "Do you feel dizzy? Have you fallen? Do you get tired? Walking? He shakes his head, smiles and says, I still walk 3 miles every morning, Doc. And I think, why on earth would we want to push this man down to 120 when he's clearly thriving? You see, sometimes the numbers make us forget what real health looks like. Health isn't in the monitor, it's in your eyes, your smile, the strength in your morning walk. I'm not telling you to ignore your blood pressure, only to understand what truly matters, balance and the root cause. High pressure can be dangerous, yes, but so can pushing it too low in old age. And medication isn't always the full answer. If you remember one thing from this video, let it be this: focus on your lifestyle. Reduce sugar, avoid processed foods. Walk every day, sleep well, and most of all, don't panic over a number like 124 or 125. Look at the bigger picture, how you feel, how you live, and the quality of your days. Because in the end, health isn't about chasing numbers. It's about feeling steady, free, and at peace in every step you take. My friend, after more than 30 years as a physician, I've learned something profound. No two bodies are the same. No one should impose a single standard on millions of people, especially once we reach 50, 60, or 70. One of my patients, Frank, age 74, was once prescribed medication to lower his blood pressure from 138 to 120. Within weeks, he came back pale and weak, saying he felt dizzy every time he stood up. I checked, his pressure was 105. We had gone too far. For Frank, 138 wasn't the problem. 105 was, it was threatening his safety. That's why instead of obsessing over a perfect target, I ask my patients, how do you feel when you walk in the morning? Do you get out of breath playing with your grandkids? Do you ever feel lightheaded when you stand up? Those answers tell me more than any printed number ever could. Remember this: health is not a number. It's how you experience life every day. If you can walk, breathe, talk, eat, and feel energy in your body, that's your real health score. Let's talk about something many forget: lifestyle. I've seen patients lower their blood pressure naturally in just 3 to 6 months, simply by changing their diet and daily routine. Take Susan, 69, for example. She loved her afternoon cookies and a can of soda every day. When I explained insulin resistance and how sugar disrupts the body's control of blood pressure, she decided to make small changes, replacing soda with sparkling water and lemon cookies with a handful of almonds. Nothing extreme. 3 months later, her blood pressure dropped from 142 to 128. More importantly, she said, "Doctor, I feel lighter. I sleep better. I feel like myself again." Now imagine this. You wake up not worrying about your blood pressure, but excited to walk a few laps in the park. You enjoy a simple breakfast, maybe oatmeal with berries, and your stomach feels calm. You step outside, sunlight warms your face, and your legs feel strong beneath you. That's health. And it comes from habits, not fear of a number like 124 or 125. Medical studies have shown that light activity, like a 30-minute walk each day, can lower blood pressure as effectively as some medications. Cutting back on sugar, eating real foods, sleeping 7 or 8 hours, these restore your body's balance naturally. I never dismiss medication, but I always remind my patients, pills are just one piece of the puzzle. If your lifestyle doesn't change, you may take 3 or 4 drugs and still not feel well. But if you nurture your body with healthy habits, you may need fewer pills and enjoy much stronger lasting health. Have you ever thought about that? That maybe the answer to your health isn't in your medicine cabinet, but in your kitchen, in your walking shoes, in your bedtime routine. Think about it. Just cutting 1 can of soda a day saves your body nearly 30 grams of sugar. In a year, that's tens of pounds of sugar avoided. And you know what's amazing? Your blood pressure will quietly respond little by little in the right direction. Because blood pressure isn't a race for the lowest number. It's a journey toward balance, between medication and lifestyle, between numbers and how you actually feel. My dear friend, let's take a moment to step back and see the big picture. Throughout this video, we've talked about numbers, pills, and medical charts. But in the end, the most important question is, how are you living? How are you feeling? I once met an 82-year-old woman named Margaret. Her pressure often stayed around 145. By today's standards, that's high. But she still went grocery shopping, cooked her own meals, tended her roses, and walked around the neighborhood with her friends. When I asked, "How do you feel?" she smiled and said, "Doctor, I feel lucky. I can still live my day without anyone's help." I'll never forget that answer. It reminded me that medicine can give us endless numbers, but life is measured by the moments we live fully. Picture this. You're sitting in your favorite chair, sunlight streaming through the window. There's a warm cup of tea on the table. Outside, your grandchild is laughing. In that moment, you're not thinking whether your blood pressure is 124, 134, or 144. You just feel your heart beating steadily, your legs strong enough to walk over and give that hug. That right there is real health. My message to you is simple: find balance. If medication keeps you safe, take it. But don't let it make you weak or dizzy. If a healthy lifestyle lets you reduce your pills, celebrate that. Don't chase a perfect number, chase a full life. Modern science has proven it clearly. Regular movement, a diet low in sugar and processed foods, enough sleep and inner calm, these are more powerful than any pill. And when you live that way, your blood pressure naturally finds its balance. Have you noticed that people who live long, healthy lives rarely obsess over numbers? They focus on enjoying each day, loving their families, doing what brings them joy, keeping their bodies moving. They let medicine support them, not control them. I know many of you watching have been hospitalized for dizziness or falls caused by too much medication. I know many of you wonder, should I keep taking these pills, stop them, or change my lifestyle? The truth isn't in a textbook, it's in your body, in your experience, and in how you feel each day. So instead of chasing 120/80, ask yourself, do I feel alert when I wake up? Do I feel steady when I stand? Can I walk a few minutes and breathe comfortably? After a simple meal, do I feel light or heavy? Those are the real health indicators. To my friends in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, health isn't trapped in a blood pressure number. It lives in how you live each day. Don't let fear of strict guidelines steal your joy. Let your blood pressure reflect how you care for your body, not become a chain that limits your life. And remember, every time you take a few extra steps, skip a cookie, or share a laugh with your grandchild, you've done more for your heart than any pill ever could. Thank you so much for spending your precious time watching this video. I truly appreciate it because I know that once we reach our 50s and 60s time, and health become more valuable than ever. If what I shared today helped you understand blood pressure a little better, or simply made you pause and reflect on how you care for yourself, then I'm genuinely happy. I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever experienced your doctor lowering your blood pressure too much? Or maybe you have questions about how to keep it stable naturally. Share your thoughts in the comments below. I read every comment, and often your questions become the inspiration for my next video. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss upcoming health videos made especially for people like you, those who want to live healthier, stronger, and more meaningful lives every day. Once again, thank you for being here with me. I'll see you